All right, you dipshit, deep state dumbasses. I mean, you're gonna make this easy, and I'm gonna just call you out on this. So I want Trump to also be called out on this too. I'm not the best video guy, but God sent me to do this, and I know why He sent me now. And that's for you and your faith of what you have the relationship with God. I have my own personal relationship with Him, and I would gladly talk and explain my relationship somewhat with you, but that's it. I can't force you to do anything. So we're gonna fucking hammer these fuckers down to the fucking minute. So I know who I'm up against. I know exactly, and like my Twitter page. So I'm gonna keep playing videos every day, and when I don't, you guys will know that I'm no longer here because this is the absolute war that we need to come and combat. And if you know who you're fighting against and all the pictures, or not pictures, but in the pictures, all the markings that you can justify and push time to show a narrative that is far from what we were being taught, and especially from when I was a kid. So I can't even imagine what the history books look like now. And so when they tell you that they've done this before, they've erased history and redid a great reset, at least one of them for sure in the United States, because I can show you where buildings, old pictures show abandoned buildings with broken out glass, especially when you're talking basically 1875 to 1900. And there's no way in 30 years with all the money that supposedly uh, Central City was pouring into the world, it was the richest, like, whatever mile in the world. And so that's what you need to put this together and understand. You have to realize that we're being deceived big time. And I know who I'm up against. So like I said, I'll just keep playing videos. And the day that I don't play any videos, I have a dead man switch, and it'll go off to the crazy ride that I had to go on in order to get to this point. All right, so let's slaughter this and then make it squeal like a pig on Deliverance Day. All right, so I have to show you Colorado, Denver, and I also have to show you Central City, Colorado. And the reason why I'm trying to help you understand this is Denver was the first one to get the railroad in 1870, and they had to that means they had to have a brick manufacturer, or they had the railroad sooner, or they were hauling wagon loads of bricks up to Central City. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. So Denver basically comes in, depends on how you read this, but they also were talking about when other immigrants come in that, whatever they brought with them into Denver, because it's pretty much, I guess, a rough ride to go from Kansas City to Denver, and I covered that too. So I'm going to show you these pictures, and we're going to go through this. And so I want you to notice in basically, well, let's do it. So there wasn't really much going on. So you had a population of 4,500 people, and then there talks about all this competition between capitals. And Pueblo, I got a picture of it where it was in 1873 that it shows that Pueblo was a capital. I guess they used to like bid it out or something to the territory, and then when we got incorporated into the United States, the corporation is when they mandated the other. And so, like I said, if you look at all of this, you're going to see this in 1888 is when they built this, 1890, and so they're trying to like hide history, how much was actually built back then. Okay, so let's do this. This is in Denver, and it's in 1873 when this building was built, and the one next to it, it looks like it was 1885 is when these two buildings were built. Now, what I need to tell you is that they modified these buildings. They went back and did facelifts to them, and they redid stuff to change their appearance. And then one time they were just so lazy they just painted them all white and called it whitewashing. And that's how they made the city look new again. So when you really understand what they did, you better be shitting your fucking pants and getting up and doing something. I mean, I've been telling this story for almost 2 years, and it's my fault too, because I didn't know how to really make videos. I fucking am not the video guy, but I guess I am the video guy because God said, you're going to be the video guy. And I was like, really? And that's the other thing, your personal relationship with God. That's between you and God. You know, I can't force anyone to have different beliefs, and nobody can force me to have different beliefs. But we got to coexist. And that's the thing. Jesus said, remove the rafter out of your own eye before you go after your brother's. So, you know, that's if you want to live by Bible principles, awesome, because, you know, that brings you closer to God and closer to ascension. And you're going to understand that there's way more to this world than anything we've been led on to know. And God is definitely mysterious. So when I figured this out, I was really floored at what I figured out. And my entire world, what I believed, was completely shattered upside down because I knew what I figured out. I just didn't know how to prove it to other people yet. And now that I'm kind of wrapped my head around it better and kind of gone through some videos, and I just made a bunch of videos just to make videos so that way when this became real, like you had enough information to go back on Salida, Canyon City, Pueblo, and so forth, how I did those. And like I said, they were train wrecks in the beginning. I wasn't very comfortable, and I was trying to slam everything from Armageddon to Adam all in one shot, and even doing it in reverse order too. So that was what one of my frustrations were with trying to get this out. So now that I've shown you this picture and we've looked at it, I want you to show you another one. And this is in Main Street, Central City. They claim that this is 1864. This also goes with the other historical maps and brochures that are a PDF file that I have on everything. This is going to be in the drive so that way you guys can have access to it and go look it up. And I highlighted some of them, so they're pretty good. So, and then the other one on this building right here, I couldn't find it. So that's the other thing with the Denver Library is that it's hit and miss. Like it's like they have these pictures up for a little bit and then they like change them out. And one of the things that I caught on to in the beginning, and I have a video of it, but they took the pictures down of Mount Princeton, or not Mount Princeton, Glenwood Springs, the hotel, and I could show you where they photoshopped those pictures. Now they're a little bit more tricky to find, and I'll keep on this like every day. I mean, I'm in this war till the end, and God knows that now, and I know that now. So every day I'm gonna post videos and tell you guys like, hey, we gotta knock our shit off. Here's proof that they fucking lied to us. Here's absolute fucking proof, so let's fucking nail it to them. I mean, I'm showing you dead honest proof that they couldn't have built what they did in the time span with the tools that they had when they got shit. No, I fucking have called it all out. I've shown you where tree growth has gone twice. Like, there's been like almost 80 years have passed between, you know, time periods when I was showing photographs. So when I tell you it's time to fucking call them out on this shit, yeah, it's time. And I'm asking Trump, if you fucking you know about this, because I know you do, it's either two ways you know about it, and this is the honest truth. Either you fucking figured it out when you were building New York and knew what the fuck they did, or you were already in on the secret and knew what they did. And I don't know if this is what John F. Kennedy fucking discovered too and figured out how fucking malicious and ill intent they were towards the American people and how they stripped them for every fucking thing that they had, their freedoms, their country, their fucking Jesus, man. When you go back and you realize what fucking England did to us, they fucking bent us over, and yeah, we squealed like Deliverance. And I hate to be so frank about it and crude, but that's where we're at. It's either go time or stick your head in the fucking sand, but we need people to go because it's time. I did my research. I This is what I can bring to the fight because like I said, this was God's direction. And when you figure out who I am and what I've been through in my life and you understand all the buildings and stuff that I did with construction, they were there for a reason. God made sure that my path was laid out. I had to follow the crumbs as he went. And so luckily I did, and he got me to this point. And it hasn't been an easy ride. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm scared to death of what the fuck I figured out. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how people are going to react to this. Because when they figure it out, they're going to flip their gourd. I'm telling you, they're going to fucking flip. Because they're going to go, how long have we fucking been here on this earth? And what is going on in our world? And I could show you where we had peace at one time with nations because our buildings were beautiful. Stone, sculpture, or structures. And I'm going to tell you, the environmentalists, you guys got to be fucking pissed at this because these fuckers have ruined and raped the earth by building shit and then just blowing it up, building shit and blowing it up. And that's what they've done. And then if they can't fucking do it, they burn it to the ground. And then, yeah, I'm telling you, they've done this before. You have to think. And let me show you what they've done. So let's go on to the picture that's gonna seal this deal with this building right here. Let me pull it up. Okay, so this is the building in that photograph, the one I can't find on the Denver Library, but this building says that it was built in 1889, and the first one I showed you is 1873. So we have, 20, almost 20 years. At least, let's do the math just so everyone kind of understands, like, this isn't an extreme amount of time in order to be able to build and do all the construction that they did. And not only that, work with stone. And these were well crafted buildings. They are still used today. They're historical landmarks. So how the fuck did we build great buildings back then that are still being used today, and the shit we build today only lasts maybe 40 years and we're tearing that shit down? Okay, so let's do the math on it so everyone kind of gets a visual of this. 1873 is that first building I showed you, minus 1889. So we got 16 years. All right, 16 years between these two dates. And then, like I said, if we go back to history and basically 73 with the Denver historians, the truthful historians of America, because they wouldn't be lying or they wouldn't be altering photographs and they wouldn't be fucking up shit. And then they would have better results, because every one of these photos, you go through all of this and it's always a question of what fucking year it is. And so this is so important that you fuckers come together and see what I've shown you. And you could see right here in this photograph too, somebody fucking played a picture shot. And they altered this picture, because you can see that this right here looks like it was just photocopied onto the picture. It even has that weird look to it. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Why alter photographs, historical photographs? Why would you alter them? Especially coming from the library, because this would be the sound truth of American history. And yet what I found is far from the fucking truth. So if you go through my drive and everything, and you have the links to the pictures, let me see. Yeah, so Central City, like all of this, I highlighted some of them, but you can go through and scope out all the pictures that I've shown you in this web page, so that way you know where I got the pictures and they're authenticated and I haven't altered them to fit my narrative of my story. I'm using their historical facts, and that's the thing. When you're doing research on place in history, you use the physical evidence that you have in front of you. And that's what I've done. I've taken all these photographs, history, read all the American history, and that's the thing. I was heartbroken when I was a kid about America, because I knew back in the '80s when they shut down all the steel mill and everything else, and they started, breaking up companies, and I remember how hard that was on the town I lived in. And then, because of my beliefs, I believed that God was supreme ruler over mankind, that no government had a right to rule over mankind. And I still believe that. And that's why I'm here, because I know God is directing this, and I know that He wants to help humanity. But the thing is we do have to govern ourselves, but we have to govern ourselves with the ideology of thinking like Christ and God. Jesus said, treat your neighbor as yourself and love your God with your whole mind, soul. And on these two, the entire law hangs. So, like I said, brothers, I'm going to keep fighting, and I'll I'll be the crazy person that takes one for the team to get us started. So Trump, if you hear this video and you see it, I'm just going to keep going. So please, anybody with the knowledge of this that has power and has wanted to say something about this but can't, because everyone would think you're crazy. Well, I just proved through all my videos that they couldn't have built what they did in the time frame with all the towns and stuff, and especially with the fires. And I've gone through that with Salida, where they had two fires, and I proved it in the Salida video where they didn't have two fires. It shows the progression of time there. And that's an interesting one, because that one was 20 years, because they got the train in 1880. So when you look at that one, you're just like, there's no fucking way in 20 years that all of this time has passed with all the photographs. So, like I said, come together on this. You have to. And the next one I'm going to go over is this one right here. This is in Salida, and on this building is 1874. And you'll look at all of the brick. So, like I said, either they had a brick plant, or the train got here earlier, or they hauled up brick from Denver, probably a 2 to 3 day ride easily, hauling up materials like that. And they built this all in record time. Because basically in 1859, it was a desert wasteland, basically, with no population whatsoever. And then magically, we have all these buildings and towns that just sprung up all over the nowhere. And I want to show you what these guys fucking really are about. I'm gonna go over this one more time just to let them know that I fucking have you guys. There's no way you cannot explain your way out of this, because you're gonna have to come forward with the truth. And you're gonna have to cough that shit up, because when people figure out what I figured out, yeah, it's fucking game on, guys. There's no place for you to fucking hide on this earth when this shit comes out. Not a single fucking place. And yeah, you better start praying to your God, because I don't think he's gonna be there to help you, but you know, we might want to start early.